Hi, Ivana. Thank you so
Hi,
much. Thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you?
I am not bad at all. It's been a very warm day today.
Yes,
It's
sunny.
been like 25 degrees. I'm not used to this.
Uh, It's only April. It's
I know, right?
crazy.
The weather's crazy.
Yes.
How
Um,
about you?
I'm great. I'm great. And I'm really excited for our conversation today. And
Thanks.
if you don't
Me
mind,
too.
let's dive right in.
Let's.
So, for those who might not know you yet, please tell us something about yourself. Who are you?
I'm Ivana. First things first. People call me Eva because it's shorter and easier to remember. And I'm a photographer. I also shoot video, and I've been in Japan for 7 years now. But initially, I was a research student here at Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. And then after I graduated, I started doing this freelancing job, being a photographer. And I don't know, I like wearing different socks. I'm a big fan of Adidas. I like coffee, although like everyone else, I guess. And black sesame.
Wow, that's specific. I saw some of your pictures and I thought like Adidas socks are really important to her.
Yeah, yeah. For some reason, I have a full crate of them. Like I cannot even store them in a drawer anymore. There's like too many. So it's like in a big wooden box. It's hilarious.
That's so cool.
It's hilarious. I can't even. I should probably throw some of them away, to be fair.
No, no, it's a collection. Keep it.
Yeah, yeah. A collectionnaire of Adidas socks.
Yes,
That's me.
we all collect something. So who are
Sock
we?
hoarder should be my bio.
Yes, and especially in Japan, it's like it's cool here to collect stuff. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you need to have one of the weird hobbies, otherwise you're not initiated into the Japan and Japanese culture. Absolutely.
as you're a photographer, how did you get into photography? And especially you do fashion photography. What was the
Mm,
start of your fashion photography life?
I'm not really sure, but so when I graduated from university, it was necessary to start doing interviews for future companies and everything. And I was pretty much not interested in that. So I had a little bit of a motivation boost
Mm.
from this guy in MICIC University, and he suggested I should be freelancing as a photographer. And how do you say that? Like, it wasn't really a concept that I had in mind that could be feasible or doable at all. Like, as a foreigner in Japan, being a freelancer, like, equal to suicide,
Yeah.
financial suicide.
Yes.
However, him saying that made it kind of like, okay, so if another person is suggesting this, maybe this is not supposed to be such a disaster. Maybe it's okay. So I did that. So like it was a very, very steep change. So one day I was a student, the next day I was already telling people that I'm a photographer.
But you were taking pictures, so that's why he suggested it.
Yes, I mean not really that much. I was mostly taking street photos and not in the sense you would think of today. Like there are so many good street photographers and their work is amazing. Mine was horrifying. It was just random snaps of random things in the street, not really like, thought of composition, like nothing. It was just horrifying. And yes, with that, I have decided to start. It was just a hobby, honestly. Like not even a well developed hobby. It was just my love for it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was very interested in portrait photography in the beginning, just taking photos of people. However, at some point, maybe a year into it, I was trying really hard to kind of, elevate my portrait photography, make it more interesting. What can be done here? Because I mean, not much you can do about portraits. It's about these people that you're taking photos of. And so, from my perspective and from like the things that I can do for my portrait photography, there isn't much unless I find like super interesting subjects. But that wasn't the thing. That was like, what can I do personally to improve this, what it looks like? Then I started experimenting with like including more clothes into this whole situation and thinking more about the styling and the backgrounds and everything. Turns out, like most of the things that I found inspiring and aesthetically pleasing was fashion photography. So it kind of just bled into it. Like my portrait just kind of flew into fashion photography. And then I realized that I've actually been interested in clothes, weird clothing combos since I was a kid. I used to dress myself to my mother's horror.
Yeah.
And yes, I used to cut my own hair as well. That was also horrifying. There's like pictures of me with like completely ruined fringe in some crazy outfits and stuff. And I realized it's all connected, I guess. But the thing is, I realized these things after the fact, after it was like already flowing into each other. And then for some reason, or not really for some reason, but for my presence on Instagram, I guess, or online, I started getting more and more bookings that were clothes related rather than portraits. Or I used to shoot a lot of album covers for music artists and their live gigs, and then portraits for, well, artists most of the time, different sort of artists, like not just musicians, but that as well, but also like album covers. And then at some point, it just started being more clothes related, like catalogs, lookbooks, stuff like that, before I knew it.
That's cool. And was it difficult in the beginning? Like you said, it was a great, like a sudden change. So like maybe what were your first steps to get the foot in the door, so to say?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think the first step in like to get my foot in the door in the photography department was making my own website.
Mm.
And then my Instagram was absolutely horrifying. You will not believe the mess it was. It was like you would never tell this person actually takes photos. And then I realized that I need some new photos. I need a new portfolio. What am I going to show to these people that I'm telling that I'm a photographer, right? So I kind of learned how to make a website in like 3 days. Made the website. I had maybe 10 photos in my entire portfolio. And it was like mostly me forcing my friends to post for me. It was great. Well-dressed friends. I would ask them to bring their nicest outfits and I would choose locations. I took like 10 photos and that was it. I put them on my website and then I would be shamelessly approaching freelance models in Tokyo saying, this is my website. These are my 10 photos that I've taken so far. Would you like to do a test shoot with me? And for some reason, like by some sheer luck, or I don't know, like they would say yes, right?
Or maybe because you were good.
But I was completely inexperienced, and these 10 photos that I had were like the only thing I had.
Yeah.
So without any experience on how the photo shoot should look like, or what are their expectations or what are mine expectations, I would be making this photo shoot, organizing it, and then when they would say yes, I would go all out, like assembling outfits, thinking about places, making the schedule, the whole timeline. I would be so into it that I have to like make the best of it, and I would like go and take photos. And then I thought that the more I do, the better it's gonna be, especially since I needed new material considering how empty my portfolio was, right? I was shooting so many times a week that I lost count of how many photo shoots I've done.
Oh.
It was kind of savage, like the tempo I've set up for myself. It was and then that was it. Then for some reason their model friends heard of me, and then other people heard as well, and it was just spreading like wildfire.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I just think I'm lucky, like very much. Like why? There's like a couple of freelance models here that are still living in Tokyo and like still in Japan. I owe them my everything because they are the first people who said yes to my complete inexperience. Like, okay, I'll give you my time of the day, and they were experienced at the time. They were already doing this job for a couple of years, and it was, I was the newbie, and they said yes anyway. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, but everybody has to start somewhere. Like you need experience to get a job, but like without experience, you won't get a job. So it's like really
kind of endless loop.
Yeah, yeah,
that's true.
That's cool. And you've had so much experience different shoots. So like, what is like your favorite memory maybe, or favorite experience as a photographer from all the stuff that you did?
No, I have a couple. So both of them were in 2019. That was my year. For some reason, there was a lot going on and a lot of people coming and going from Japan. Probably the year with the biggest amount of tourists, foreign visitors from abroad and everything. And there was this fashion blogger, men's fashion blogger. I don't shoot men's fashion usually, but he reached out to me to do, well, a sort of like a brief photo shoot for his like Tokyo content. And I was kind of surprised because I mostly, feature women in my portfolio, right? So I took it on anyway because I really like his style and he's been in the business for a very long time. And considering he liked my work, I was very open to it.
Yeah.
And we did a photo shoot then, and then he came back again and we did photo shoot again one more time. And then I was visiting London last year. I was just walking down the street with my makeup artist, and he comes up on the street staring at his phone. It's been 3 years since we last saw each other.
Wow.
And he looks up, and I'm like, Matthew. And he looks at me, and he cannot place me because I'm not supposed to be in London. I'm supposed to be in Tokyo. And then after like 3 seconds, I keep computing that I'm here right in front of him. Oh my goodness, like what are you doing here? That was such a the world is so small kind of moment of me. It was absolutely amazing. Why? Because like I think the most important thing I got from this whole job is probably the people I've met from abroad or here, and the world is too small. So, you don't keep in touch, but then I met him in the middle of the street for no bloody reason. He was just there. That was amazing. And the other one is there was a band requesting a music video here in Japan. And so my company took that job on. We were supposed to plan everything after their Korea and China tour. They will be coming to Japan and we're supposed to shoot the music video. However, their videographer canceled for the tour. So turns out me and my partner were supposed to go with them. They asked, would you like to join? And I was like, and we're going to China and Korea on a tour with the band. Yes, we are, apparently. So we went. It was I was tedious, to be frank. It was I'm not very, how do you say that? Not a very flexible traveling person. Or I didn't used to be. And then it was a lot of like in China, especially. China is a massive country, so you need to change 5 means of transportation to reach this live house and this concert arena. So it'd be like going airplanes and then the taxi and then walking and then oh my goodness, where the hell are we? We're like in the middle of China mainland. It's amazing. The band is amazing. The performance is great. However, tomorrow we need to leave and go to this other place. And the best thing is, I mean, they do this every year, like for most of the year. For me, I was so exhausted, and then we were having fun, and it was amazing, like going sightseeing after the live show or like before. But then this traveling situation, and then when I got home, and then after a couple of months, I realized it's one of my favorite experiences ever. It was great. Can we go again?
I think this happens a lot. Like during the job, you're like, "What the fuck? I will never do it again." And then you come back like,
absolutely.
Let's go tomorrow.
It is absolutely, it is true. No, like thinking about that period, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I had so much fun," because it was a lot of stuff that, like, for example, the stuff that you don't know in Korea. I don't understand Korean, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm eating. I don't know where I'm going. It's just a constant struggle trying to figure it out. But then when you get home, it's like, oh my man, like so much fun. Can I go again?
That's
It was great.
Amazing experience you got there.
It was a really good one. And then I was not aware of it when it happened, but it is what it is.
No, that's
We'll learn. We'll learn.
Would you say like that's what you do is like part of your goal or dream when you started out as a photographer?
Not really. I think my main goal was when I started out was to be on Vogue's cover. like everyone else. But in the sense that Vogue's archive stays forever. So I want to leave this kind of thing that's gonna stay in someone's archive where my work is going to be, how do you say that? Buried. Buried in like the graveyard of the greatest. In that kind of sense, like leaving some sort of legacy, even if it's just one photo, good enough for me. But then I realized this year and then previous years, I would like to travel for work, to see all these different places, to work in all these different countries. I would also like to work with Serbian magazines because I'm originally from Serbia. That would probably be my biggest dream at the moment, going back to the roots a little bit. And then exploring Serbian kind of sense of fashion, because I've never worked in Serbia. I've only ever worked in Japan. So it's completely different. And I kind of want to, go back and see what I've missed. I think those two. And then current goal, I'm looking for representation in Paris because I would like to move operations to Europe half of the year. But that's still in the making, so we'll see. I'm learning French as well. So I guess another goal is to be able to speak French. I'm not very good at it though.
But now that we are like at the topic of dreams, you mentioned a bit already, but how would you say is your process of achieving your goals and dreams?
Going head first through a brick wall.
Wow.
Not thinking at all. Like, I don't think it's very clever. I don't think overthinking is also clever. I think somewhere in between, like having some sort of plan and having hopes for the best, those are kind of, a match made in heaven.
Oh.
So having a sort of plan and like, maybe plan B if something goes bad should exist. Me, on the other hand, I'm just like, no, I don't have a plan B. I'm just gonna dive into this. Maybe, bruise myself on the way on the way down. We'll see. Or we won't,
Yeah, or we won't. That's cool. That's amazing.
I would not advise my younger self, to do the same thing over again.
Why not?
I don't know, because there is always a chance of things going wrong. For example, you get sick, you have emergency situations, everything can sometimes go wrong. So for these very urgent, very hopeless situations, they're supposed to have some sort of cushion. Because, I honestly think that whatever problems people have, they might be able to solve them unless it's a health problem. So they're like physically unable or like mentally unable to, dedicate their time and effort. So for these types of situations, I think some sort of, backup plan might have been necessary. But in my case, I just, well, let me just jump off this cliff. That's great.
But it went well, so why not do it again?
I don't know. I might have spared myself a lot of worrying, maybe.
What would you have done different? Like, if you could give advice to your younger self, what would be like the thing that you would?
I think it's more along the lines of having more intention behind every photo shoot that I've done. I still do personal projects, like test shoots and collaboration shoots. I still do those. However, I think that I wasted a lot of time kind of going around about it like a fly, like without having any thoughts or intention about it. For example, how will this help me get to where I want to be? Or is this close to my visual aesthetic? Or that kind of intention behind it. Like having a sort of purpose makes it way more valuable. And I was experimenting a lot. I don't think it was like blindly, without any that kind of the thoughts behind the whole process. And I think there's two reasons for that: lack of experience, and the second thing is lack of like a visual center point. Like aesthetically, I was not sure what I want, which is kind of normal because like I said, I barged into it out of nowhere, out of the left field. But I think if I sat down and thought more about where I want to be aesthetically, I think it would have had way more sense. So I would tell that to my younger self. Sit down, think about it. Think about it a little. What do you like? I probably come up with something. So
But do you feel that you still reach that?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm closer to where I want to be than ever before, but not that I really am not reaching it, or I still have a long way to go. That is true. But I think that also personal preferences, taste, and aesthetic visual ideals change. So even if I did reach my current goal ideal, I think it would change after a couple of years. Is it also the trend in fashion, how they change? Clothes change, people change, new models come and go. The medium changes. For example, film photography is super trendy right now. So I think those things are also important. Even if I'm close to what I want to do right now, I think it's good to change too. So I might, switch it up a little bit in a couple of years.
What would you say was maybe the biggest challenge you experienced on your way to where you are now, and how did you overcome it?
I think I still struggle with this because I'm a really big introvert, is getting in touch with people and connecting with them, just communicating simply. I think it's one of the biggest struggles I've had. And also like this kind of having a visual goal and like who I am, this kind of knowledge, what I want to do. When I get a suggestion for a collaboration shoot, I have a look now. I know if I like it or not, or if it's going to suit my portfolio or not. Before, I would just say yes because I want to practice or try something new. Right now, I still want to try something new, but I know for what reason and for which purpose. And that was the biggest challenge probably. And then communicating and working with people, that changed a lot when I got signed by an agency here. I was supposed to suddenly communicate with my manager and his assistant every single day. And with a little bit of practice, daily practice, it changed. So that's why I'm like sitting here with you talking, because I'm not shy anymore. So I think for any sort of hurdle, like daily dose of small practice works a long way.
But as you mentioned, like when you're not that extroverted and then you had to send out maybe emails or contacting models in the beginning, it must have been a big challenge or need a
absolutely
lot of, like, courage.
And then like try not to take things personally when you get rejected. Not that I got a lot of rejection in the beginning, but when I do get rejected, I get rejected by magazines a lot because everyone does. For example, what you thought of for their next issue or these photos that you took and want them to publish them, it's not what they're looking for. They have a different theme for their upcoming issue, so they're gonna say no. Or it can be very small. Like, for example, their agenda is full. There's already enough photographers. There's already enough work to be featured. It's not personal. And they will say no because, or it can be a simple thing. Like they don't like the one brand that you featured. It's not about you. The editor doesn't like this brand or this article of clothing that you used. And they will say no. And then in the beginning, when you're an absolute noob and you're so insecure and experienced, you take it so personal. Oh my God, they hate me. You just laugh at myself right now.
How did you get to where you are right now in that? How did it change that kind of not taking
talking to people, talking to them, like sharing experiences. When you talk to other photographers or when you talk to fashion editors or you talk to stylist people or makeup artists, you hear different perspectives and then you realize it was never about you. They just, for example, clients, they rejected your proposal, they found someone else. It's okay. Doesn't mean they hate your work. They just found someone more convenient to work with, which is totally fine. But for example, not talking to them about this or some other clients, some other brand PR person, you don't know these things. And then you get in your head, get insecure. It's very not productive for this type of job, I think. Of course, I still have times when I do it. Oh man, I get so disappointed. I really wanted to shoot this editorial for this magazine, but they're not interested. Oh no. But how do you say it? Take the sadness in stride. It's okay. You'll get over it.
But do you get to try it again sometimes? Like,
of course.
So like with magazine, if it doesn't work this time, maybe it works next time.
Absolutely. There is I think a line between being annoying and a line being, between being like trying again. So usually people say that you should like message them maybe every couple of months or maybe twice a year, depending on, if the magazine is coming only once a year, there's no need to message them every 3 months with your proposals. They're like only publishing once a year, or magazines which publish like maybe twice a month, or it depends. It depends on the frequency. But you would want to reach out to them because you change, you get better. Your aesthetic vision changes as well. So if you made this proposal and pitched it to them and they don't like it, doesn't mean they won't like the next one or the next one. And it just depends on who you want to work with. If it's a magazine you really care about being published in, there's no reason to pester them all the time. But if you really like this magazine and you feel like you have something new to offer to them, it's always good to reach out again. And then as also for the clients too, because you update your portfolio. That's why we keep doing these test shoots and collaborations. So why wouldn't you not show them this new work that you've made? Maybe they decide to book you for their autumn winter collection. Maybe they hire you for the spring collection. You never know.
Oh, that's cool. That's really a valid and really important advice. And how would you say was your experience freelancing in Japan as a foreign woman? I think it's not easy, like for anyone, but then being foreign in Japan, a woman.
Yeah.
What was like your experience and maybe the biggest learning you got? So like for someone who tries to do the same, a foreign woman in Japan, what would be your advice for them?
In fashion photography, I don't really encounter many women, to be fair. I've never met a female fashion photographer here. However, I've heard there's a couple that I've never met. And then I think my being able to speak Japanese very well helped a lot. It did not really matter who am I going to work with, and it did not limit my client pool, so to say. I think that's important to learn Japanese. Otherwise, it's difficult. Not being able to speak the language, for example, I don't think I would have the confidence to deliver what the client is asking for if I cannot understand them, for example. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of foreigners and foreign clients who want to shoot in Japan. I think it's not impossible working without knowing Japanese. However, I think way more opportunities when you can speak Japanese. As a woman, I don't think I've ever had any problems with that. I have only one piece of advice. If you want to work as a fashion photographer and as a woman, you might need to hit the gym. Because the work is absolutely exhausting and of course requires a lot of physical strength, especially when you're working alone with like a small team or you're working alone. You need to carry this stuff. You need to have endurance. You need to stay at work for the whole day, put up the lights, disassemble them, take them back to the rental shop, go home, edit, sleep, and go next day. It's exhausting. And I think that's like the biggest impediment for women, the lack of physical strength. Yeah. Sometimes I struggle as well. I cannot lift this. Why is this so heavy? Or when I'm shooting video, like holding the freaking gimbal. I don't have strong arms. So I need to exercise to be able to lift it and keep it stable for a longer period of time. I have a female assistant. I talked to her about, other sets as well. She works on other sets too. And there's a problem of logistics as well, or administrative problems. For example, the whole crew is going to stay in Okinawa for a shoot. They rent very cheap accommodation because the budget does not allow. And all the men are staying in the same room. Japanese style room. They're all sleeping together. If there's a female member of the crew, they would either have to adapt to the situation, sleep with the 20 men in the same room, or not be able to go because the client does not have the money to afford a separate room. And it's exhausting. And it's not about us women. It's about how are they going to easily fix this problem of fitting all these people in like very cheap accommodation. It happens. I don't think women should take it so personally. If they can put up with the situation where like staying in the room with like opposite gender, it's okay. But maybe then the other people are uncomfortable with it. For example, these guys staying in the same room, maybe they don't like being in the presence of a opposite gender in the same room. Maybe it's, awkward for them. It's not about us. They're just trying to make it, worth their while and worth their money. So in this situation, there's like nothing you can do about it.
That's really, I think, something like you never maybe not even think about when you start.
I stay with the whole band crew, which is all guys, and other people who are also all guys when we went on this tour in 2019. I don't mind. They didn't mind. But if I was a person who minds, that would have been a problem because there is no money to find me a separate room or time or, the will, intention. It happens.
So you have to adapt to anything that happens.
I think that's important. And also, yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And then going to the gym. Be strong for your own good.
That's a really good advice because I think like you would think you take the pictures and then you're mostly at your desk editing and you would never imagine that you need some strength.
I'm pretty strong for a girl. Like pretty strong. Yeah. Honestly. Like I'm not shy of saying it. Sometimes I get so exhausted. Like I mentioned about the gimbal and everything. I cannot.
Yeah.
It's too heavy. And the gear and the stuff is massive, like the stands and everything. It doesn't matter if you're actually strong. You can't really reach the other side by yourself, So you definitely need some muscle, some help. Fashion photography is mostly manual labor. It is true. That's why I can't have nice nails.
Why?
Why they keep breaking by lifting and bumping into stuff and lifting heavy objects. I cannot have long nails. I'm just gonna damage myself, get hurt. I think it's different for people who work with different, like bigger teams, though.
Mm-hmm.
When you work in a very small group, when it's like only you and maybe another person, I think this is the case most of the time. When it's a bigger team and a bigger crew, it's way easier.
But who knows? Maybe they still have like to carry more than.
Oh, of course. But more hands at work, easier it gets.
Yeah. Maybe like, would you like to have a bigger team someday, or do you prefer actually to be like with an assistant and mostly by yourself?
I currently have assistant, or sometimes I work with two. I really appreciate it because I like the feedback when we're making plans for upcoming photo shoots. Even though I'm spewing stupid ideas, I would like someone to, give me some feedback. To, for me, maybe notice something that I haven't seen before, or, maybe think of something better. It's always good to discuss these things with someone. It can be an assistant, can be anyone who understands anything about this world, or who doesn't. It doesn't matter. But I don't really mind big or small team. Doesn't matter really, because even if it's a very massive group of people, maybe 15 or 20, they'll have things to do. Nobody's gonna get in your way. I mean, not too much, but it helps when there's a lot of hands at work. It helps a lot.
And my last question would be, why do you do what you do? What is your why?
Oh my goodness. I think that's the most difficult one.
That's why the last one.
Well, I like clothes. I like showcasing women and clothes. Like they feel their best, they look their best. Or they buy that and they feel amazing in those clothes. Same for me. I like wearing what I'm wearing. So I feel amazing. When you put something super weird on yourself and you smile, it's good. This is one of the reasons. The other reason is the whole process of photography is something that I really, really like and enjoy. I like the whole atmosphere of working with my team to make this kind of one picture or this one setup. I like just creating with all of them to achieve this visual representation of the upcoming collection, right? So I just want to stay here, just be in it, just exist in this fashion photography world. Not that I have like some super deep message to convey with my fashion photography. Like photography and fashion especially can be political, can be, social sciences related, can be very journalistic, I'd say. But I don't really have such a message at the moment. Maybe I will have it someday when I'm older, when I have the message, right? At the moment, I just want to stay here. I just want to take photos, help my clients get the idea that they had for these collections, make these women who buy the clothes, who wear the clothes, who, pose for the photos in the clothes, feel amazing, have fun. Super important stuff, I think. That's what I'm trying to do on set as well. Like, have fun a little bit, not stress too much. That would be.
No, that's important and so important. And I think especially, like you said, there are not many women photographers, and then with models, maybe younger models even, I think they also feel maybe empowered and maybe safer, more secure when you are shooting with a woman. And then you know how to present them, how to make them feel safe, and think that's really...
I think I've been told that women have a different perspective on fashion photography than men.
Would you agree?
I'm not sure, but I think everyone, maybe if they're interested in this topic, should have a look. Maybe they see something that I haven't. I feel like, not really between genders, but I feel that the genres of fashion photography, people have different views on it. They are inspired and influenced by different things. In my case, street photography. In other people's cases, maybe their journalistic work or something else. So I think all of that mixed together with their personal, views on life and on the clothes makes it so nice to look at. They're just nice to look at. I really like it. That's why I want to stay and keep doing this until I'm old and tired, maybe afterwards too. That's the thing. I don't think you ever have to retire from photography unless artificial intelligence replaces us all. But even then, it's okay to take pictures still, unless your camera is broken.
And it's so cool that you got it from like, what is it? Was it a classmate of yours who just said, just do it?
It was this guy I met.
Oh.
It's not a classmate.
But like, he just
anonymous source.
This anonymous person suggested it, and now you even think about doing it forever. That's so cool.
But it was always there. I was just like very coward, a big coward. I could not. Yes. Everyone needs a little bit of a push.
And maybe seeing you, somebody else will be like.
I hope so. I really do hope so. Because that's another important thing. I wish people would stop overthinking this thing so much. It's, not necessary to overthink. Since I feel like most of the artistic work or creative work is mostly led by or driven by who you are, what you like. Also, making bad work is also work. I know it sucks. Mine sucks too sometimes. It's okay. We failed this time. Next time will be better. Also, it's a learning curve. You know what you failed with. So just trash it, put it in a recycle bin, and apply it for the next time. You can't be successful every time when you're creating. This is like the creating thing. You can't be a robot that's gonna make the perfect packaging every time. It's okay. It can suck sometimes, but it's important that you try to do this or that, the thing that you had in your head, I think.
Yeah, I think even Ed Sheeran said like that he needed to get out bad songs out of his system so he can write good songs. So I think when we start, we feel like, oh, it's not that good, I cannot do it, because we already compare it to somebody else's. Like they already got this, like their bad stuff out, and then you compare your bad stuff with their amazing stuff. So I think.
And I also think that there is an audience for the bad stuff too. Like, for example, people who are afraid to post their content on TikTok. Why would you be afraid? Like, somebody maybe might like it. Why not? But why? Like, why would they hate it? So
that's
just post it.
So you don't even have to hide it. You just not do it for yourself. You already post it.
Yeah, like really just post it. It's okay. Also, even if they slam you in the comments, just, maybe read the comments. Maybe you can find something interesting there. Can be applied for next time. I don't know. I think that's the way it should be most of the time.
No, it sounds like a really positive way and most fun way than to hide until you're perfect.
Yeah. They can't be perfect. It doesn't have to be. It's okay.
That's cool. That's a really nice ending, I think, on a positive note. So thank you so much for your advice and for sharing your experience. And I'm really sure it will be like a push for someone to get out there and, yeah, be
I really hope so.